We're back for game 2 of a doubleheader here at Softball SAHQ, the Softball SA Premier League. We've just seen an upset. Walkerville Cats, who were in 4th position, defeating top of the table Sturt Falcons. And second game of a doubleheader will be between the Seacombe Tigers and the Hills Heat. James Harris here, and joining me as always is Lee Hull. How are you, Lee?
I'm fine, thanks, Sir James. A little wet and a little cool after the previous game finished in a burst of winter weather.
It was t-shirt weather at the start of the 2 o'clock game. Now we're rugged up. We've got jackets and hoodies on. The wind is blowing, so it's going to affect our broadcast just a little bit to begin with. However, the magnificent crew at Space Quake Sports will get us all the action, and we'll be able to bring you all the big plays and the big moments of this game between the Tigers, who are sitting in 6th place, 1 win and 1 draw, 3 points against 2nd place Hills Heat. Well, if you look at the live ladder, actually, Walkerville will leapfrog Port Adelaide and Hills for the time being and go 1 point ahead of the Hills Heat, who have got 4 wins and a draw on 9 points. Walkerville now 5 wins and 4 losses on 10 points. Just shows how close the competition is this year, Lee.
It is really close, James, and makes it interesting, doesn't it? Interesting softball, and this game, the weather's abated a bit, which means it's gone away a little bit, so we should be fine.
We've got the defensive lineup, Seacombe Tigers. I can see that the veteran Jade Peterson, ball in hand lead. Do you want to go around the rest of the field? I can do it for you if you like. Jade Peterson is pitching to Jess Maslin with Araha Munro at first base. Second base is Jade Graham. And at shortstop, I can see Ellie Georgiaris, Becky Havas at third base, and the outfielders Jenny Dunn, Sasha Penglace, and Jazz Blight. A couple of new names there for some of our regular viewers. Ellie Georgiaris getting a start at shortstop.
Ex-Walkerville player.
That would be in place of Sasha Mutsi. She's not listed on the team list today. Simi Dhaliwal, the bench player for the Tigers today.
Yeah, well, Sasha usually plays at shortstop, so she must be away, I would suggest. No schoolies, is there, really? I don't think.
No. Well, the weather looks like it's blown straight by us here. It hit us just as the last game finished, and it just seems like it's disappeared as we were about to begin game 2 of a doubleheader. Sun is actually starting to appear. It is summer after all.
Yeah, I think we'll be fine.
Jade Peterson pitching for the Tigers up against Amber Hood. Teammates just a few years ago. 2 strikes and a good start from Peterson. So the usually watchful Amber Hood has gone behind in the count. And that's exactly where the veteran Peterson likes to have her batters, chasing pitches later in the count.
Yeah, she's quality, isn't she, Jade? And has been for a long time.
Swing and a miss, so Peterson goes to work straight away with a strikeout to start the game. Maddie Rocha, next batter. So perfect start for Peterson.
Yeah, I think Seacombe have got a real chance here. All depends how they handle Georgia Hood.
Running bunt, and Peterson will do the fielding, and well played by Jade Graham over at second base. So short game attempt early on in the game without runners on base from the Hills Heat. So 2 pretty quick outs. This will bring up Georgia Hood.
Yes, and we know what she can do with the bat, George.
The 2 teams have played off against each other once, from what I can see here. Hills had a 7-1 victory. Oh, and just a couple of weeks ago, Georgia Hood smashes this one up the middle for a single, the game's first hit and the first base runner of the game. Yeah, just saying that the Hills and Seacombe have played twice so far. Hills have won both games, 7-1 and 6-2 respectively. You think that Seacombe might have a chance?
Yeah, I do. The Seacombe side's been thrown around a bit today, like you said. You mentioned about Ellie Georgiou's coming in for Sasha Mitzi. Becky Havers has gone to third, and the rest looks about the same, I think.
Well, a couple of changes for the Hills Heat as well. The batter on deck is the one that I'm showing interest in today, because I've got a stat for you on this one. Lauren Christensen, a return to the Adelaide Club competition in I'm going a bit far back there, Lee. In 2009-10 season, so 11 years ago, she was the Kath Coral medalist playing for Torrens Valley Red Sox, a joint winner with Melissa Roberts that year.
Yeah, terrific player, Lauren. It's obviously come back to the fold. I wonder whether she's been playing up in the Hills in that time, James, or been away somewhere, or just given the game a bit of a breather.
Playing out at CDSA.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Lee, and this year coming to play for the Hills. Alex Mackey will go down for Jade Peterson's second strikeout of the inning. So we'll see Lauren lead off the inning, next inning for the Hills Heat. But a very positive start from Peterson. 2 strikeouts from 4 batters. Only blemish there was Georgia Hood's hit, and she went first pitch aggressively. Georgia Hood, that's her way. She does lead the league in hits. That'll be her 12th hit on the season.
Yeah, she's a terrific player, terrific hitter of the ball, great pitcher. Only very young still, James. She's got a great future, hasn't she?
Yeah, I think she's only just turned 19,
20, is it? Yep. Umpires for this game, Neville Lawrence on plate, Ian Gray at first, and Steve Wallace-Yarrow at third.
Yeah, plenty of hitting still to come for the Hills Heat as well. A couple of young guns in their lineup in Peyton Daniels, Abby Jorgensen, and Georgia Ballard. Mackenzie Ween, of course, no slouch, a state under 23 representative. But I'll just quickly focus on their shortstop. You'll go around the defensive lineup, though, for us in a moment, Lee. But Danny Perez in the top 10 hitters in the league at the moment with 8 hits. So plenty of hitting still to come for the Heat. If you want to take us through their defensive lineup.
I certainly will. And the battery, of course, is the Hood sisters. The Hills top hoods, both of them. Georgia Hood to Amber Hood at first base, Alex Mackey. Second base, Abby Jorgensen, or she swapped with Georgia Ballard in that position.
Georgia Ballard's at second.
Yeah, Georgia, and that's fine. Georgia Ballard's at second now. Peyton Daniels at third, Danny Perez at short. Outfield left to right, Mackenzie Ween, Maddie Rocha, and now it's Abby Jorgensen. And Lauren Christensen's the DP.
Yeah, DP for Georgia Ballard.
Yep.
Well, it is Georgia Hood just going through her final preparation. She's one of the absolute superstars of the competition. She can pitch and she can hit, and she's pretty handy in the field as well. Last game the Hills played was against West Torrens, and although Georgia Hood started the game, the victory was awarded to Tani Steptoe, who was a guest of ours for NAIDOC round. She was a guest commentator, and then went and had a game with the Hills Heat. So a couple of hits and pitched the win, and to put the Hills Heat into second place.
Yes, Tani was a big contributor to that day, wasn't she? It was a really great day.
Jenny Dunn is the lead-off batter for the Tigers. We've seen her shuffle around the top of the order over the last couple of seasons with the emergence of Sasha Mitzi, and Jen's been in and out of the lineup as well. So she'll feel comfortable at home as the lead-off. Gee, that was a tricky one for third base Daniels, wasn't it? She was in two minds whether or not to attack it or let it go foul.
Umpire Lawrence in perfect position, wasn't he?
Hood ahead of the count, 2 strikes. Great change up, floats one in, and Freezer's done for a strikeout.
I think the look on Jenny's face was to me saying, yes, I should have. But she didn't, so she's on her bike.
Both teams starting off with a strikeout. This is Sasha Penglaze. Pretty good contribution from Penglaze since she's made a return to the club after a few years at Glenelg.
Yeah, they've been very good value, haven't they, the Penglaze sisters? For both the Seacombe and Glenelg.
We'll have a look at the Tigers lineup in a bit of depth as we see them have a turn at bat here. Penglaze swing and a miss on that changeup. So Hood really starting to evolve as a pitcher, and that changeup's worked effectively so far in this game. Still a bit of breeze around and a threat of rain. I'm not saying that we've seen the last of the rain. There might be another band about to come over again in a minute, Lee, but a couple of names out of the Seacombe lineup is Mitzi, Sophie Kinnear as well. 2 batters in their top 5 hitters of the season. A couple of young players that'll be around for the Tigers for another decade or so, you'd think. So
well, they'll miss both of those. I happened to see the catch up with the coach of the Tigers, David Gooley, and I was saying to him about how I've been impressed with both those 2 girls.
Another strikeout on the change up for Hood. Both batters have been frozen, and you can turn that K the other way as it is 2 consecutive standing Ks. Jess Maslin will do her part to change this trend of strikeouts. Nil-all ball game in the bottom of the first inning. We'll update the scoreboard in time. The great work from the team at Spacequake Sports, bringing us a doubleheader today, just so everyone can get their softball fix after a circuit breaker. Great pickup from Peyton Daniels. Gee, that throw was as impressive as the pickup, Lee. It went across
terrific, wasn't it?
Like an arrow.
Yeah.
It went so hard, fast and straight. Let's have a look at the leading team's replay. Great pickup from Daniels and fires it across to Alex Mackey. She's happy with that play as well. 3 up and 3 down, a 1-2-3 inning for the Tigers in the bottom of the first inning. And we've got a scoreless game. So you had a catch up with Dave Gooley, you were saying?
Yeah, just in our local shopping area, and I was just saying to him about we were just talking about players in general, you know, just giving him a few positive bits of feedback.
I'm sure you've given him a couple of coaching tips as well, Lee.
Positive feedback.
Well, Jess Maslin was the last out of that inning, and she's the catcher, so she just has to kit up. So hence the slight delay. Jade Peterson comes out. She might only get 1 pitch for a warm-up here. The defensive team normally gets 1 inning to turn it around, and as the sun was shining to start this game, it is now raining to start the second inning.
Yes, I think you brought the the subject of weather up.
Well, here is the lady on screen right here, Lauren Christensen, the Cath Coral medalist of 2009-10 season. Stands in the left-hand batter's box. She looks likely as well, doesn't she? Doesn't look like that she's lost any of her swagger. Watches that first one through for a ball. So Peterson now got the elements to work against here as the rain starts to come down and a little bit of breeze still around.
Yeah, it wouldn't be easy, would it? Trying to control yourself, trying to control your body.
And crunch. First turn at bat for the season for Lauren Christensen. I would say the first game that she has played in close to a decade in the Softball SA Premier League, and she gets things going with a hard shot to right field.
Yeah, left-handed hitter that can pull the ball hard to right field.
Peyton Daniels squares, shows bunt, and it will be a textbook sacrifice bunt, advancing the runner to second. So Christensen in scoring position. So good turn it back from Peyton Daniels. Would you have liked her chances? Maybe Jade Peterson struggling with a grip with a wet ball maybe, so give the batters an opportunity to hit, or is that the right move? Let's get a run on the board.
I think, yeah, I think they played it right.
Perez, the hitter up to bat, just checking for the swing. She holds. It's umpire Ian Gray at second base. You can see the wind in the trees in the background, and you can see the grey skies. You can hardly see any of the antennas from the Adelaide airport, and that is about a kilometre away from us.
Yeah, it's a strange day, isn't it?
Shows bunt out of reach for catcher Jess Maslin. You can hear the wind in the effects mics as well. It sounds like it's swirling. Can normally see the city in the backdrop here as well from West Beach, but
we're not far away.
Perez has a big cut.
Good player, this girl, James, Danny Perez.
Yeah, I just mentioned her a little earlier in the show that she's in the top 10 hitters of the competition. She's got 8 on the season in 8 games. But she'll go down swinging this time around. So Peterson back to work after giving up a hit. Sacrifice bunt and then a strikeout. So 2 out.
No damage done.
Abby Jorgensen is the hitter. Big swing from Jorgensen. Another big swing. So Peterson just peppering the edges and getting the young batter to swing at anything close at the moment.
It's her control, Jade, isn't it? I mean, she's not quick, doesn't throw smoke, but she just controls the situation. Normally when she gets to the bottom half of the lineup, she just plays with them, I think.
Makes quick work of it as well. She's known for her strikeouts, as Jorgensen has swung at all 4 pitches so far, fouling the last 2 off. Persistency, consistency, and a little bit of experience as well on the shoulders of Peterson, and that helps.
Yep. And Jess Madison's a very good catcher.
And a catch taken from first base. Adaha Munro for the 3rd out. So Hills Heat have had 2 hits so far in the game. A hit to Hood, a hit to Christensen. But it has been pretty good defense so far from Seacombe Tigers. Hills have bunted in both innings as well, and the defense have held up pretty tight.
Got to try and put the ball on the ground, don't you? Ground is a little bit damp out there.
Do you want to move over to this seat here next to me, Lee? Looks like you're getting a bit wet, mate.
No, no wetter than I normally am.
All right.
I'm fine, mate.
All right, well, 1.5 innings down, and Seacombe got through that one, and just the elements, the added pressure put on the Seacombe defence with that wind and rain that's just sprinkling at the moment. It's like a bit of a break in the weather, at least for a little while now, but you can see from that camera angle that it's a little darker than what the players would be used to at the beginning of summer as well.
Yes, we're getting there, that magic time of the year, Christmas. It'll be honest before we know where we are. It's been a funny season, hasn't it, so far, James, as you mentioned in the first game?
Yeah, funny season in that it's so close from across all teams. Funny season in that it's been stop-start.
Yep.
It's some uncertainty around the place.
But we're playing, and we should be really thankful about that.
Yep. Araha Munro is the 4-hitter for the Seacombe Tigers. Just a young player that's been around for so long. Can hit. She was known as a pitcher coming through the junior ranks and has a few junior premierships to her name as well, and has come into this Seacombe lineup. She can ease her way into this team and in this lineup because she's got the likes of Peterson pitching the bulk of the work. She did have to carry the load for a while Peterson had her second child.
Yep.
High for a ball. So 0-0, it is the bottom of the second. I'm not sure if it's just us, Lee, but our monitor just seems to be flashing on and off, so I might have a loose cable here, but let's just call the action as we see it. Georgia Hood pitching to Araha Munro. A ground ball straight back to the pitcher, and Becky set herself pretty early and had to jump for that one, but wasn't too far out of reach as the first out is made.
Don't you like that when you're pitching, one or two bounces back to you? Makes life easy. It's Becky Havis now. Has a swing of that, Becky, just fouls it off. Girls are playing in sunshine now, which is, I'm sure they'll be pleased about that. Good judgment from Becky Havis then. Georgia was nibbling away at the outside edge unsuccessfully. 2 balls and 1 strike. Evens up the count, 22 count. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Something's about to happen on this pitch. Just fouls it off. Count remains the same, 2 of each.
Becky's been hot and cold so far this season, I think. She's got a few hits in the season so far and probably sits around the middle of the batting order for them, but if she can just get a little bit more consistency in the game, she'll be a star of this competition.
I think it just comes with age, James, surely.
Another strikeout for Georgia Hood. So she's been right in the thick of the play so far in this game with her own defence on display there, or the ground ball to start the inning against Munro, and 3 strikeouts.
Yeah, it was a good turn at bat from Becky, but she didn't like the call, but it's not going to change. And we have a theory in softball, don't we, James? If it's close enough to call, it's close enough to swing.
Yep. Jade Peterson is the hitter for Seacombe. Has 5 hits on the season so far and sits equal second as far as the tally of hits go. So
pretty good effort from your pitcher.
Yeah, that's it. She's doing her job. As a lower order batter for the Tigers.
Such a consistent player for so many years. Consistency, that's what it is with her.
Looks like she's swinging the new Eastern Ghost Plus as well.
Oh, okay.
It's a shot to the backhand side of first base, Alex Mackey, and it will be a put out to the first base player for the 3rd out. So 1, 2, 3 innings to start the game for the Hills Heat defence.
Quick game's a good game. So how was on Thursday night, the fully loaded, James?
Well, great that you've brought it up, Lee, because we've played 3 rounds of the fully loaded, and next Thursday night from 7 p.m. is the finals of the 2020 fully loaded season. Believe it or not, Lee, out of the 3 teams in the 3 weeks, each team has won 3 and each team has lost 3 games.
Gee, that's good picking teams, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so close,
Selection.
so even. It was the MC Sportswear Thunder who went through in top place with the points tally in the competition.
Okay.
It's an interesting way to determine who's on top of the ladder, and they just had a couple of big blowout wins that secured them top spot. So it'll be the West Beach Community Bank Cobras against the CPC Angels in game 1, and the Thunder will be there waiting for him in the grand final at 8 p.m. this Thursday night.
Terrific.
Mackenzie Ween is the hitter for the Hills Heat. Swings first pitch, fouls it off. So Peterson right back in there, dealing pretty well, as we've come accustomed with Peterson.
Seems like she's batting a long way down, batting 9 for Mackenzie.
Yeah, quite a capable batter, and she's featured in the fully loaded competition on Thursday nights. It's going to be a busy week of softball in the week to come. It's got Wednesday night, we return for Premier League action. Then on Thursday, fully loaded softball is a strikeout for Peterson, so she's got another one. So she's got 4 strikeouts from the first 9 batters.
Yeah. I really do fancy Seacombe today, James. I said it before the start, so I won't just come on halfway through.
Well, if we saw anything, it's only going to take 1 inning as Amber Hood lays down a running bunt. Safe as houses, right in between the 3 fielders that converged to see who was going to do the fielding, but none of them grabbed it in the end, and Amber Hood was safe at first. So a bunt comes off for the Hills Heat. There is 1 out.
Not much you can do about that. It was bunted into a perfect position.
Big lead off from Amber Hood. Maddie Roche is the hitter. She tried a running bunt, her first turn at bat.
I think she'll still go bunt. I wonder whether they'll try and squeeze Amber here. Runner. No.
She's doing great, getting a big lead off, a big jump. Really trying to apply a little bit of extra pressure to the Seacombe defence. shows Bun again, pulls back and a steal, so it was a cover-up, but a great throw from Maslin as Georgiaris was a couple of steps in front of the base. You really need to be on the base, and if the ball bounces, you're able to take it on the hop, but
it was hard to make an out. Hard to make an out from there. That position. Forced the catcher, Jess Maslin, to throw the ball the distance.
Runner in scoring position now. Rocha will swing and miss, so she was in a pretty good hitting count. But that one will even it up.
Well, she's done a job so far, hasn't she? She's put Amber in the scoring position.
High for a ball and now a full count. Yeah, runner in scoring position, and if Rocha gets on base here, Georgia Hood's up with 2 runners on base.
Yes.
Swing and a miss, so good turn at bat. Dave Gooley is generally the type of coach that will automatically put on the team's best hitter if the base is free, and there is an opportunity for her to do that. As we see, catcher speed up. Amber Hood was on second base. She is the catcher with 2 outs, so Maddie Rocha will move across to second, and the intentional walk is exactly what's happened. So pretty good when you think about it, because Georgia Hood leads the league in hits, and when you've got a runner in scoring position, you don't want to even risk it.
Yeah, well, it's playing the percentages. 3 chances now, where they have 1 before.
Yeah. Alex Mackey is the hitter up now. She's doing pretty well for the Hills Heat so far this year. She's got 7 hits on the season, and in the top 4 for the team. Handy hitter to have in the lineup. She's so consistent. I think she's hit in 6 of the 8 games that they've played in this year. So doing her part for the team. So if they can get the ball into play from Mackey, maybe give Rocha a chance to score from second. Otherwise, load the bases up for Christensen, who just powered that one. Last turn at bat, pop up straight back to the pitcher, and it's paid off, the intentional walk, Lee.
Yep. Most times it does, James, because the alternative is probably a couple of runs.
Well, we saw 2 strikeouts in that inning, so 5 for the game.
Already
for Peterson.
3.
Intentional base on balls and a running bunt. So plenty happening in the inning. Fly ball back to the pitcher to end it. It's still a 0-0 ball game, so the Hills Heat are the only team to have base runners. They've got them on in each of the first 3 innings so far. That's the furthest anyone's got so far in this game. Runner on second base and in scoring position.
Yep. But we saw that with the Sturt game, didn't we? We saw Sturt with bases loaded and couldn't get out of there with any runs in one of the innings. So it doesn't always indicate that you're going to score runs when you have the bases loaded. You'd like to think so, but not always.
Well, we are at the bottom half of the 3rd inning. We're going to see Jazz Blight for the first time. Batters 7, 8, 9 are Jazz Blight, Jade Graham and Ellie Georgiaris.
Yeah, Jazz has been batting at batting position number 1, lead-off a couple of weeks. I think they're probably just trying things out. See who can do what.
In the left-handed batter's box, she's quite watchful. She can lay down a bunt. She can also swing the bat, as she does. Chops it. Good play from Peyton Daniels, and she's been in the hot corner so far in this game. Couple of good plays. Playing against their former side, the Seacombe Tigers.
Yeah, she's doing very well, Peyton.
Jade Graham now the hitter for the Tigers. So a little bit different game than the one we saw earlier today. We saw it all in the early game today. Walkerville in a surprise win against top of the table Sturt Falcons, 6 runs to 3.
You think the conditions had some bearing on that game? Like we played in good conditions, didn't we, for most of the game, majority of the game. Wind wasn't as strong, I wouldn't have thought.
Chops this one to shortstop. Perez charges it and fires it across to Mackie for the second out. So some pretty good play from the Hills defence so far in this game. Different conditions, yeah, because the wind has really picked up. It was probably it's still favouring the hitter that is pulling the ball to left field.
Yep.
However, the extra breeze that's just picked up over the last half hour to hours is making it, I'd say, a little harder conditions for softball.
Yeah, well, the 8 outs so far for the Tigers, there's been 5 infield outs and 2 K2s. Have I missed one somewhere? 3 K2s. That's the 8. So infield in the action.
Just gets away from Hood a little bit there as she can't find the outside edge on 9-hitter Georgiaris. Timeout is called.
I'm pretty sure this is Ellie's first turn at A grade. First Seacombe.
Timeout called, so just double checking to make sure the umpire's health. So a bit of concern showed from Seacombe Tigers head coach Dave Gooley. Let's get back to the action. Here it is, Georgia Hood pitching to Ellie Georgiaris. There's 2 outs in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Swing and a miss for a strike. Nil-all ball game. This time of the last game it was pretty tight as well, but it was 2-0 lead to Sturt before Walkerville jumped on them with 4 runs in their 4th inning.
Yeah, that was a real surprise. Hit down the line over the top of third base, set everything in motion, didn't it, in that innings, from memory.
Good cut from Georgiaris. Was flirting with the left-handed batter's box during the last couple of seasons, but looks very comfortable in the right-handed box. She sits a little lower, doesn't she? It's almost a slight crouching position, an open stance. Change up. This one gets away from the catcher. Georgiaris moves across to first safely. So first runner aboard for the Tigers is their 9-hitter. Coming from a drop 3rd strike, it was a great change of pace. It bounced before the batter, who at least swung at the change up, which Georgia Hood's had a bit of success so far in this game with the change up, but it was a ball that bounced off the plate, so it didn't come up on the catcher's glove. Should have tried to trap it, but got away from everyone, and Georgiaris is safely at first.
Well, here's their chance, the Tigers. Jenny Dunn, quality player. She's talking about people who've been great players for a long time. Tigers, here's one of them.
Yeah, 6 hits on the season, coming in the last 6 games as well. So slower start to the season for Dunn. She's got such high expectations on herself. She's one of the team leaders, I believe, this year. Really trying to get the young ones to settle into the Seacombe lineup.
Well, she sets a very high standard for them, doesn't she?
Goes opposite field in a hit and run attempt.
Yep.
Georgiaris will go back to first base. Could have been too far away. We see Gooley going back to his bag of tricks, giving a signal, not even looking at the batter, looking directly at the runner. 1 ball, 2 strikes. So Dunn will be hitting away anything that's close. Gets enough of the bat on this, and it just clips the inside of the glove and then goes between the legs of the second base player, Georgia Ballard. She's not happy with herself. She sets a high standard, even for a young player, Georgia Ballard. 2 runners aboard for the Tigers.
She does. She takes it really serious, George.
Not too much damage just yet, but the defense just letting the heels heat down a little bit there. A drop third strike, and in this occasion an error to second base player. Have the 2 runners aboard for the Tigers. So a hit here, though, could make them pay. Sasha Penglaze.
I think if I was Georgia Hood, I'd be throwing a change up here just to see if you can buy that third out.
Keeping it low, gets away from the catcher, and the runners take off. They're a little hesitant. They don't go the whole way. Amber Hood kept it in front and threw it to third without even checking. So maybe just anticipating the runners going.
Yeah, but Ellie was a fair way off. I was surprised Amber didn't look up.
Well, I've looked up myself, and over my shoulder I can see another thick band of grey cloud coming our way. So
I think I'm holding you responsible, because every time you mention it, something happens.
Well, 0-0 ball game. It's intriguing, isn't it? It seems like it's going pretty quickly. It's about halfway through, and we're 3 innings through as well.
2-0 count, 2 balls. I think I'll be going change up. See if you can buy something.
Right down the middle. For
well, that's the hitting position, isn't it? You're in a terrific hitting position. Pitcher's got to come back with something. Take a bit of pace off, throw a strike. Get it back in the count. Tee off.
High for a ball, so
it's a good turn at bat from Sasha.
Sure is. She obviously had that in mind the previous pitch as well, because it did go down the middle. Let's watch it, make sure she throws a strike. Because Jess Maslin's on deck, and she's pretty good form for the Tigers this season with 6 hits of her own. Low for a ball, and loads the bases for the 3-hitter for the Tigers.
Tell you what, she gets hold of one, Jess. There'll be 2 runs in.
Maybe even 4, because we've seen her go the journey.
Coach Gooley calls out one of his famous sayings, get a good pitch. That means belt it. That was a good pitch too.
That's a very good pitch. It was down and away from Maslin, and she did well not to even go for it. So, but if one sits, she could send it.
You would have ground out on that if you made contact.
Goes opposite field, and Mackie on the backhand side makes a good play to get the Hills out of a little bit of trouble there. They had a couple of errors in that inning and a base on balls, but a sharp play from the first base player, Alex Mackie, to end the innings. It's a tied ball game after 3.
Jess wasn't happy with herself then, because she knew she chased something that was far too low. And bases loaded, mate. That's when you've got to use every pitch you can. Easy from here.
Well, I'm going to cover up our equipment again, Lee, just in case this rain comes over. But interesting game. I was mentioning before that it's a different game to the one earlier today, because we saw plenty of action. We saw a change in the lead about halfway through the game, when it was Walkerville that took full toll of a great, consistent and equal performance throughout their entire lineup. They all contributed well offensively and defensively. A little earlier in the game, they lost a couple of base runners trying to steal, but it was just great defense from the Sturt Falcons as well. But then both teams were starting to find the gaps with the bats. We saw monster home run from Belinda White as well early in the game to give them that 2-run lead. But they just plugged away, the Walkerville Cats, didn't they? Earned their win, and if you look at a live ladder, it's Walkerville in second place.
Yeah, well, that was probably the biggest surprise to me for the season so far, James. I didn't think they could beat Sturt by 3 runs.
Lauren Christensen will lead things off here in the 4th inning. She got a great shot, her first turn at bat. She pulls this one again. It gets under the glove of Adaha Munro. So lead-off runner aboard. As the breeze picks up a little more, Peyton Daniels, a sacrifice bunt, her first time up at bat. She took off on that one, didn't he? Almost like a running bunt, and then pushed at the ball. She wasn't steady or stood still at all. So maybe a different signal from Coach Humphreys.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what that was, but the runner remains where she is.
Big jump, it looked almost like a hit and run this time as the ball fouls over the back net. So it's 2 strikes.
This is a mixture, this turn at bat for Peyton, but the runner remains at first. Your job, get her onto the next base.
Our concerns with David Muggleton get well soon. He's looked like he had a little bit of blood in the head, so maybe he's hurt himself. So we'll wish him all the best there. So we'll just have the single camera angle for the remainder of this game, as I miss how Peyton Daniels got aboard, Lee.
It was a pop fly, was in between the second base, right field and centre field. So it was a base hit. And then a put out.
Running bunt attempt just there from Perez. Abby Jorgensen's the hitter with 2 runners in scoring position. Christensen on third. A big swing and a miss. Jorgensen's swung at every pitch she's faced so far. Daniels on second in scoring position. Christensen on third. Squeeze bunt attempt. Peterson plays home. And Christensen looked like that she has crossed the plate there safely. It was a hesitation from Peterson, and that's the first run of the game.
Yep.
So squeeze bunt comes off for the Hills Heat. Jorgensen safely at first. Daniels advances to third base. Takes off on the pitch and a loud steal. So Humphreys given all his batters a job to do so far. We saw Daniels a couple of bunt attempts.
Putting the ball on the deck.
Perez a bunt. Yep. Jorgensen a bunt. Now it's Mackenzie Ween chose bunt. Called strike.
Got to steady here, the Tigers, don't they?
Yeah, with just the 1 out so far in the inning.
Yep.
Well, Mackenzie Ween behind the count here. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Was a strikeout victim her first turn at bat. High for a ball.
Well, they need to get an out here, Tigers, so because they've got the top of the lineup with Amber and Maddie and Georgia coming up.
Gets a little bit of bat on it, fouls it off.
Times in the game when you need to buy an out, James. This is one of them.
Hills Heat versus Seacombe Tigers. We're in the top of the 4th inning. Mackenzie Ween high fly ball out to left field. The runner tags Peyton Daniel. And she will score on a sacrifice fly. Jenny Dunn threw the ball in as soon as she'd caught it to third base player Becky Haver. So Jorgensen will stay at second, but there was no play at the plate. Second run of the inning. Lee, we were just saying earlier, it's only going to take one inning to break a deadlock, and it could potentially really open the floodgates. So that's what we've seen so far. Plenty of batters reaching for the Hills heat. We're at the top of their order the third time around in the fourth inning.
Yeah, well, there's 2 down now, but the danger keeps coming. Hood, Rocha, Hood. So what Amber does here at this turn at bat will be a bonus for the heat if she can get onto it.
It's 2 out. Time has been called. I can't tell who called that one as Amber Hood moves out the box. There's a couple of swings to loosen up. Rain again, Lee.
Thank you, James.
Stolen base. It's a delayed steal, and the throw from Maslin goes over the head of third base Havis, and Ellie Georgiaris right in the right position to back that throw up.
There was another run, wasn't there?
Well, I think Hills Heat trying to take full advantage of a young infield. You have a look around it, none of them are over 20 years of age. All the experiences in the battery and in the outfield for the Tigers. Amber Hood fouling that one off, and it's a 2-0 game. And she smashes this one into the alley. Sasha Penglace in a race to the fence as Hood turns second. The throw comes into shortstop Ellie Georgiaris, and the third run of the inning on a stand-up triple from Amber Hood.
Yep.
Her second hit of the ball game, Lee. First one was a running bunt.
Dangerous player, isn't she? That's why she's batting lead off.
2 out and catch a speed up. We'll see Jorgensen return to the diamond. She crossed the plate for the Hills Heat third run. On that play, now it's Maddie Rocha.
Well, they got to sit Maddie down here.
Swing and a miss on the change-up.
Can't afford another run.
Good change of pace from Peterson. Pop up, it's going to go foul. It does land in the field of play. The breeze so strong, blew it back into the field of play, and maybe a missed opportunity for the Tigers.
I suppose we should be counting our blessings that we're playing in summer, James.
The sun's just come out again, Lee.
Yeah,
I look a fool with the umbrella covering all the equipment.
I have no comment.
Ground ball to Georgiara. She does her best to keep it in front of her. She got a tough second bounce, but a fourth run will cross the plate, the fourth of the inning.
You get caught in 2 minds, don't you, on those sort of plays? And it hurts.
Well, we have seen the last 4 batters, all with RBIs for the Hills Heat. Squeeze play from Abby Jorgensen, Mackenzie Weiner sacrifice fly, Amber Hood a stand-up triple, and then Maddie Rocha with a ground ball to shortstop. Tough to negotiate for Georgiaris. 4 runs in 4 batters.
And the first pitch Georgia Hood received, she knew that she should have swung at it. It was just sitting there. But not to be.
She's already had a hit in this game and intentionally walked. 2 balls, 1 strike. High for ball 3, so she's got a pretty good hitting count here. Wouldn't be surprised if we see the back go swing.
That's what it is, yeah.
Kept them on the outside for a walk, advancing Rocha to second. So Hills Heat have scored 4 on the inning. They're not done yet as Alex Mackey will come up for the 9th batter of the inning. Need to be careful here with Christensen up to bat. She's been on base twice. She's on the on-deck circle. He pulls this one foul.
I still think the outfield are far too deep. We've not seen a ball go that deep yet.
Yeah, Amber's was a nice hard flat shot that went into the gap.
Different, that's
Christensen
different.
pulled the ball through the infield into the gap. But other than that, Georgia Hood's one was up the middle through the field. So nothing's been popped up in the air for the Hills Heat. This one is just out of reach of Araha Munro playing first base.
See, when you've got wind like we have today, it's going to hold the ball up for sure.
The one fly ball to the outfield went to left field, a sacrifice fly from Mackenzie Ween earlier in this inning.
Yep. There we are. Speak of the devil.
Will drop in short. Humphreys sends Rocha from second base, so Mackey's going to try and pinch a base here as well, and 2 runners in scoring position now for Lauren Christensen, so a 5th run, 2 runners in scoring position. The Hills Heat really putting the foot in the throat now.
It's unbelievable, James. The ball just drops in.
Cut from Christensen.
I think it's the fence or nothing with Lauren here.
Well, she's the 10th batter of the inning.
She's got the power too. We've seen that already.
5 runs has scored.
Funny how games blow open, isn't it? Just blows open like that. Blink of an eye.
Another big swing and a miss. Yeah, we're partway through the 4th inning. This is the 3rd time round in the order for the Hills Heat, but you would have thought that the first 3 innings, Peterson showed a lot of control, hadn't given up a run.
Yep.
5 strikeouts, and this inning started out with an error at first base, a little blooper to second, and then a ground ball to third on a put out on another bunt attempt. 1 run scores. Mackey being waved around for a 7 in the inning. Christensen with 2 RBIs on that single to center field. Seven runs, 2 outs. And I wouldn't have said that it was a dominant start to the innings. I was just going through the three bunts from the first 4 batters. Sacrifice fly as well thrown in there, but the 3rd time through the order, we've seen Amber Hood with a triple, hard shot from Rocha to shortstop, a base on balls, 2 more hits to Mackey and Christensen. So it has been all Hills Heat. After the Tigers have given them a chance, they've taken it.
Yep.
Peyton Daniels now has had a sacrifice fly, and early in this inning, a hit, a blooper towards second base. This is where the Tigers are really missing a bit of seniority and experience in the infield. You would have seen by now any other team, one of their team leaders to pop up, call a timeout, settle the team down.
Yeah. Very good point. Very good point. Just break the run up,
Daniels.
Because you remember in the first game, that's what Sturt did, didn't they?
Yeah, and later in the game, Walkerville did the same thing with Tracy Robinson.
Just go in, take charge.
And not have to wait for the coach, because you can see at the moment, well, I can't see Gooley from this point. Daniel smashes this one. It's into the gap again to center right field towards infinity sign. Christensen turns third. She stumbles a little but will score the 8th run of the inning on a stand-up double to Peyton Daniels. Speechlessly.
Yes, I am actually.
Danny Perez now. The 12th batter of the inning. 8 runs are scored. There is 2 out.
Well, that's a blessing. You wouldn't want to be the 3rd out, would you, after this run of runs?
Well, Danny was the first out of the inning.
Okay. Well, she might bookend it here.
Swing and a miss. We are in the top of the 4th. 8 runs for the Heat in the inning. 12 batters. Strikeout. So Perez, the first and 3rd out of the inning. And Peterson shuts down the 4th with her 6th strikeout of the game. Normally you'd think with 6 strikeouts in 4 innings that you're doing pretty well.
Yes, you would. But unfortunately the scoreboard says different. It's 8-zip.
Well, in softball rules, the run rule comes into play when you've got to lead by 7. And over the course of the season, I can't see too many results that have been blown out that far. We saw Walkerville defeat Seacombe in round 3, 10 runs to 3. Sturt defeated West Torrens 8 runs to 0. And West Torrens then defeated Port 12-0.
Yep.
Sturt defeated Port 8-1. So 4 results have really blown out this season, but I don't think we've seen anything like an 8-run inning in this season. The highest score of the season was 12, and that was when West Torrens defeated Port Adelaide in 4.
But 8 in 1 innings. It's incredible, James, isn't it, really?
Well, the Hills Heat are rolling at the moment. If they can have another quick 1-2-3 inning, we could be down at the final just like that.
Well, Araha led them off previous innings. She's leading them off again. 2 innings ago, that is.
Yep, first 2 innings for the Tigers were 1-2-3 innings. So
yep.
Georgia Hood has started off on fire, yet to give up a run, but they were in trouble at the end of that last inning with loaded bases. Munro, the hitter for the Tigers. Just off the end of the bat there.
It was a good pitch. Had plenty on it, that one. Sun's back with us, James.
Yeah, the wind
Lovely.
is still here, though.
The wind is not abating at all.
High for a ball. When you're playing in a game of softball, it's not often that you see a team leading by so much in such a dominant performance ever take the foot off the pedal. So at the moment, you can probably see Hills winning in a canter, but Seacombe need to find something, as Munro's going to lead off the inning with a single to right field. So just what the Tigers would have needed.
Yep.
A spark. They need a spark to get things going here in the bottom of the 4th.
But when you're pitching, I mean, the battery of the Hood girls be thinking to themselves, that's one safe hit. You know, give them another couple. We've still got 8 runs up on them. Can't take your foot off the pedal, although 8 runs is a lot of runs.
A lot of runs. Becky Havis is the hitter now for the Tigers. Yeah, well, if you think of it like that, 8 runs is a lot of runs, but the Hills Heat just did it. So if Hills Heat can do it, well, perhaps Seacombe can do it, but you know, it's a bit harder to do after you've just had those 8 runs scored on you.
Yep.
High for a ball. Well, that's what's needed, isn't it? Seacombe to have some patient turns at bat, go deep in the count, make Georgia Hood throw the ball into the strike zone.
Yep.
She's got a 3-win, 3-loss record on the season. Georgia Hood with a draw as well. Swing and a miss from Havis. The draw was against Port Adelaide in a 5-all ball game. In the 2 times these teams have played against each other, he has only given up 3 runs in those 2 games to Seacombe. Called strike, looked like it crossed the inside of the plate.
Here's another one Becky wasn't pleased with, but it's just a matter of getting that out of your brain, isn't it? Just forget about it, brush it aside. Concentrate on this next one.
Second strikeout of the game for Harris. This one is a strikeout looking. That's the first out of the bottom of the 4th inning. So Tigers' most experienced player here, Jade Peterson, up to bat.
She'd love to get herself a hit here. And the team.
Munro's in a bit of trouble. He slides in safely as Perez couldn't take the ball. Amber Hood just had a bit of trouble with that one that bounced before the plate.
Yeah.
Got their lead.
And you notice what, like in the Sturt game where the umpire asked to see the ball, Steve Wallace-Yarrow in that case pointed to where the ball was loose.
I've got to say the umpiring has been absolute top shelf this season in the Premier League.
It is, and considering the conditions today in both games so far, it's not easy out there for umpires as well.
Georgia Hood up against Jade Peterson, fouling this one off. Earlier today, we saw top of the table Sturt Falcons take on the Walkerville Cats, sitting in 4th place. And at the end of the first inning, it was a 2-0 lead to the Sturt Falcons. And then after that, it was all Walkerville. They ran out winners 6 runs to 3 to catapult themselves into 2nd place. Peterson tries to pull this one. Daniels does well at 3rd. And the throw comes across the diamond, hits Munro in the back. And so we'll have to check on her to make sure she's okay, because the throw from Alex Mackey after that out was made. A good play from Peyton Daniels. Hit a square in the back.
Yeah, she was thinking about running. I'm not quite sure whether Saunders took control, because she stopped very quickly and went back to the base. She probably would have been gunned down at any rate. Didn't go that far away from the base. The ball.
Well, that's the 2nd out for the Tigers here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Jazz Blight, the hitter. Low, got a called strike. It's just hit the bottom of the zone. So great pitching from Georgia Hood. Great control shown in these trying conditions. Swing and a miss for strike 2, and she's going to have a think as she backs out of the batter's box. Normally the umpires ask the batter to stay in the box, but she had a big cut at that one, so
can't afford to go down looking here. Runner at 3rd.
swing and a miss. So great defensive inning for the Hills Heat after they gave up a hit to the leadoff batter in Araha Munro, and looks like all feelings on out of this game, don't you think? It's it was such a difference in the way that the game was played earlier today. Both teams were battling it out, toing and froing. But today, it's all been the Hills Heat. They've had runners on base in each inning. They've had a great contribution throughout their lineup, which is what we saw was the difference in the last game. We saw Walkerville with a great team performance.
Yeah, their best performance for the year, Walkerville, the Cats. They'll sleep well tonight. To beat Sturt by 3 runs, to beat them is hard enough, but to beat them comprehensively by 3 runs is a fantastic effort.
Well, that was the Sturt Falcons' first loss since they dropped a game 4-3 to Port Magpies in round 3, with Michaela Yankovic pitching that game, so that was also a shock loss. So both of Sturt's defeats this year
have been shocks. Yeah,
you would have thought they would have gone in favourites to both games.
That's an excellent point, James. I saw that game when Michaela Jankovic pitched, and I reckon everybody for Sturt were there that day, from memory. She pitched a wonderful game.
Jorgensen, first pitch swing. Now, I mentioned her last 10 at that she swung at every pitch she's faced so far, Jorgensen. So that continues. As a catcher, you're not calling the ball anywhere near the zone in that case. Hit by pitch for Jorgensen.
Didn't even flinch.
High and inside and wears it. Just throws the bat down and runs up to first base like it was a little mozzie bite or something. You know, she's shaking it off.
I think she's a dead set goer, Abby.
Yeah. Just a young player as
well.
well.
Yeah, young, but plenty of confidence, self-confidence. You need that. Hope to get some myself one day.
Mackenzie Ween is the new hitter for the Hills Heat. An 8-0 ball game.
How's our great man, Mr. Muggleton?
I saw he was back.
He's back. Good man.
He was back. Hopefully
he's a fighter. Maybe something came loose on the his covering there and hit him on the head.
Mackenzie Ween, a couple of strikes against her name and fouls this one off. She's not dying, wondering here. Mackenzie Ween is my esteemed colleague. Points to the heavens, and I can see blue sky before.
Everywhere.
It was grey. It was. It looked like it was a miserable day, but now it looks amazing. Mackenzie Ween just battling out here against Jade Peterson. High in the air and in foul territory, just out of reach of Otaha Munro, and the ball nearly hits poor old Tracy Opolsky there, just minding her own business in the first base coach's box.
I wonder whether she should have made a beeline out of there.
Well, she turned her back from it,
yeah,
so she wouldn't have seen where it was.
No, that's...
well, life for Mackenzie Ween. She makes them pay. Jorgensen turns third. The throw is a good one from Sasha Penglace, but Havas wasn't in the best position. But Jorgensen safely on third, and Mackenzie Ween moves across to second on the throw. So could turn it back for the Hills Heat. We'll see Amber Hood come to the plate with 2 runners in scoring position and none out. What's the answer here, Lee?
The answer is more runs, I think, James.
Well, how do they come back, the Tigers? High ball, foul territory, and again that wind blows it and keeps it in the field of play.
Looked like it was clear on the net, didn't it?
Just so hard on the field. The conditions today, we've seen a couple little bloopers. We saw one early in the day. Rachel Tonkin lost sight of the ball at the last moment. And just in this one inning, 2 missed opportunities for the Tigers as Mazen attempts to pick off a temp. Not a bad idea. They've really got to manufacture a couple of outs here, the Tigers. Trailing by 8. Top of the 5th inning. And you'd think that this will be the last, because we're about 70, 80 minutes in. We're about nearly 80 minutes in, and they're down by 8. So it'll have to be a big comeback, or they'll run out of time.
Yep.
In the next batting inning for the Tigers. So
that's the options.
A walk to Amber Hood. There's none out, and it's loaded bases. I don't think it's over just yet for the Tigers, as their coach, Gooley, calls timeout to have a word to his team. And yeah, they need some leadership out there, don't they? It doesn't look like there's much going on. looking for answers, the Tigers, as the Hills heat up, high fives all around. It's a tight little circle that they've got, whereas the Seacombe circle is spread out. He's talking to Idaho Munro, and she's got the ball in hand, so
yep.
We're going to see a pitching change. Tough for a young pitcher to come in cold with loaded bases, down by 8, no outs. And the first one, she's got to negotiate. The drag marks, the pitches from the last 2 games have left behind. It's a trail of destruction. Did you see it before, Lee?
Yeah, when I was out there with you.
Couple of big trenches out there.
Yep.
Well, Jess Maslin still in place to pitch. We can see Becky Havas just getting Idaho Munro's pitching glove to replace the glove she was using at first base. The first base and catcher, only 2 positions on the diamond that can wear a mitt.
Yep.
Whereas the rest of the field wear a glove. So,
yep.
What's the difference, Lee?
Well, the difference is the size mainly. I think I played a fair bit of first base in the A-grade comp, but I never wore a mitt. I wore a glove. I just like the feel of the glove. It's like wearing a batting glove underneath your fielding glove. I was never one for that. I just felt I couldn't feel the ball the same. Yeah. Everybody's different, James.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Idaho Munro into pitch for the Hills Heat, and Maddie Rocher is the hitter. Oh, it's a long way back here for the Tigers. You feel for them a little bit here. They'd really love a cheap out, a ground ball or a pop-up. That one is a called strike. So Munro starting off pretty well. Two strikes on Rocher. Controlled swing, ground ball to Munro. Does the fielding herself and a force out at home, so 1 out in 1 play. Jorgensen is forced out at home. And getting better for the Tigers though, as Georgia Hood now up to bat. Timeout called. Maddie Roche's laces have come untied, so Coach Apolsky over at first base earning her pay this week.
Yeah, laces only come out undone at primary school, don't they, James? Surely.
Yeah, I don't tie a double knot in my laces.
I do. Probably because I couldn't bend down to do them properly the second time.
High for a ball. Not a bad pitch from Munro. Seeing as that the trend, I would say, for the day is a lot of first pitch swings.
What do you do here?
All 4 teams.
What do you do here? I'm throwing 4 balls.
Yeah. Great play, Jess Maslin. A pick off Mackenzie Wing, caught diving back. Well, that tactic that you've got there, Lee's a good one. To throw 4 balls, don't allow her to swing, and now the bases are not loaded, which means that you can walk.
Well, that's what you do, so you don't give, because she's due to put one over the fence. That's what they're doing, I think, here.
Well, 2 outs, and Amber Hood's still running at second, so no catcher speed up just yet. Great catch from Ellie Georgiaris to end the inning. It was a show. It wasn't as hard as we've seen Georgia Hood hit the ball, but Ellie Georgiaris had a bit of a glare of the sun. I don't think it's looking, she's not staring straight at it, but she negotiated it well. The ball started to dip as well, and she moved with it and took a good catch to the end of the inning. So after loaded bases, the Tigers get out of it with the next 3 batters, or the next 2 batters, because one was a pickoff. So Idaho Munro gets the job done.
Full credit to Arahara. I was just going to mention that. She's come in trailing by 8 and probably thought, I couldn't be doing better things than this. But she stuck to her guns and got out of there without any further addition to the score.
just while we're in the inning break, and I'm not sure if David will like me saying this, but I'm just taking I've ducked my head in, and I can see he's got a pretty nasty cut on his head. My best wishes to you, mate. I hope you're doing well. Anyway, let's get our attention back to the field. We're only about 5 or so minutes away from time, and it is the bottom of the 5th, and Seacombe are trailing by 8. So one way or another, the game's going to be over in the next 3 outs. How do you approach this last turn at bat here, Lee?
One batter at a time, I'd say. It's about all you can do, mate.
Yeah, that might be the worst special comment that you have ever made.
Well, I'm trying to think of something positive, and I'm positive it's going to be one batter at a time.
Yeah, well, I have to agree with you though. It's there's not much more you can do but take it one at a time. But I'm hopeful to see one of the Seacombe players just stand up, put their hand up, and say, here you go. I'm leading the way for you here, girls. Follow me.
No, that's fair enough.
Seacombe are going to make a change. Simi Dhaliwal, the bench player, is in the on-deck circle. Jade Graham, the batter, swing and a miss. She'll come in for Ellie Georgiaris, who had a pretty good turn at bat. She was their first base runner of the game as well. It was a drop third strike, but she went deep in the count. It hasn't been too bad at shortstop today as well. Jade Graham chops this one down, and it gets in between Mackie and Ballard. They both went for it. Ballard had no chance once Mackie got the glove to it. It deflected off the glove. It was backhand side.
Interesting bit of attempted fielding by Alex, I would have thought. They'll put it under the word interesting.
Well, she's gone the mitt. The glove, I mean. She wears the glove, not the mitt at first base.
She looked like she was sort of waving at it more than having a wave at it.
We've seen her play so many positions, Alex Mackie, over the course of her short career with the Hills Heat. She's one of their team leaders as well, just at in a young early 20s, and she can play catcher, she can play second.
She's utility. She's a utility.
First base today. We've seen her in the outfield.
Yep.
A handy middle order batter for the Hills Heat as well. So she might be a little bit disappointed, but I don't think she's the type of player to reflect on that sort of mistake. We've seen Coach Humphreys come out and call timeout. He's probably just reminding them that we're 3 outs away from a good win here, girls. Let's stay on the game. Simi Dhaliwal is the new hitter for the Tigers.
Came across from Sturt this season.
And has also come through the state program as well. The Dragons program, under 14 regionals. Actually, she would have been under 15 regionals at the time, under 16 and under 17 and then under 18 team for the South Australian State Girls.
Promising young player.
A terrific outfielder.
Yep.
Handy hitter. That one's low in the zone for a strike. And her first real opportunity at A grade on the move that she's made here to Seacombe. 2 strikes. So Georgia Hood not wasting any time here. A swing and a miss for the first out of the bottom of the 5th inning. Terrible conditions for the players and the umpires, Lee. It has rained, it has been windy. Now the sun is out and it's glaring as the blue skies come out. So it's nice to look at, but not nice to be in.
No, correct.
And the shade's starting to come over the home plate as well, just for that little added bit of difficulty. Level of difficulty today for the players' comfort has been -11.
Well, if you can play on a day like today, you can play any day, can't you?
Strike called on the outside edge. Doesn't want anything to do with that one. Lee, we've got one more game to go today. It is Port Adelaide, who are trying to hang on to a top 4 position. One game behind them is West Torrens. There is a bit of run differential, so I'm not sure they'll leapfrog each other in the ladder as Dunn grounds out to third base. Daniels has been a solid rock at third today.
She has been very impressive.
8-0. There's 2 out. It is the bottom of the 5th inning. It will be the last inning because time will run out. And the Tigers down to their last chance.
Yeah, well, Sasha, it's up to you, Sash.
The wind is howling now. The grandstand is moving from side to side.
We can thank David Muggleton for putting us up here today, James, because he's suggested it was going to rain. He was right.
From an elevated position?
Yeah, elevated position, and we're grateful of that too, because we missed some of it.
So down to their last strike now, the Tigers. It is an 8-0 ball game. There is a runner in scoring position. Ingles gets a little bit of bat on that, but it is Danny Perez at shortstop who takes the catch, and that will end, well, a game of 2 halves really, Lee. 8-0 to the Hills Heat, but it was 0-0 after 3. And then the Heat put on 12 batters, 8 runs in the 4th inning, and that was it. That was the entire difference of the ball game. And Seacombe Tigers will walk away from this game a bit depleted. They'll stay at bottom of the ladder. Hills Heat will regain 2nd place on the ladder. They'll be on 11 points. Walkerville in 3rd position on 10, and 1 more game to go today is West Torrens and Port Adelaide Magpies. That'll do it for us today, Lee. Pretty convincing win for the Hills Heat.
It was, and it was 1 innings, wasn't it? As we all know now, 8 runs. It's very hard to come back to make a game of it from there halfway through the actual game. But some positive things. I think Lauren Christensen coming back, my goodness.
Absolutely.
What an effort. Hit the ball so hard.
Come back, and she started very well. Yeah, let's give her our leading team's player of the game. We will wrap things up here at West Beach. Thank all our broadcast partners, Leading Teams MC Sportswear, to our team at Spacequake Sports. Well done to the crew through some trying conditions. Thank you to Eric Bolner, who joined us for game 1 of the doubleheader, and to yourself, Lee. Terrific performance as usual by yourself. And we will see you on Wednesday night for Premier League action, Thursday night for the finals of Fully Loaded Softball. And it is good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone.